All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Houston Rockets Daily, guys. Today we have a New York Knicks versus Houston Rocket recap video. But before we get into this video, if you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're only like 150 subscribers away. So thank you guys for all the continued love. Now, tonight's game, it was a roller coaster, man. It really was. You know, you come into it without, obviously, Jalen Green and KPJ, but there was no Christian Wood as well. And you're playing a New York Knicks team who, while they are struggling, they're a very physical team. They're a good defensive unit, and they are very, very physical. They like to make sure you can feel like, bang, into the paint. You can feel the presence of the game. It's very similar, almost like when you watch the Phoenix Suns play the Golden State Warriors and you see how they guard Steph Curry. They're just like almost like beating the shit out of him. Like anytime Steph Curry is anywhere on the court, someone's giving him an elbow or someone's giving him a little shoulder. And that's how the New York Knicks play. So being without Christian Wood, we deployed Tyson Sengun. Now, this is crazy. I never honestly thought I would ever say this in my entire life. Daniel Theis was probably he was the best Rocket player on the court tonight. I don't think it was, maybe it was a little bit close at certain points, but in the whole grand scheme of things, I don't think it was even close. Daniel Theis tonight was the Houston Rockets' best player, and you can already even tell through Twitter. I'm seeing people tweet like, don't be fooled by the stat line, from Daniel Theis tonight. I'm like, I watched every second of that basketball game. He was our best player. Without Daniel Theis, this is like a 30-point blowout. Daniel Theis tonight went 22 points, 10 rebounds, threw in a steal, threw in 2 blocks, 8 of 12 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown. This is why Daniel Theis is good to have on the roster. When you play a physical team like the New York Knicks, they make sure they have a shot blocker out on the court the entire time. So given the circumstances, you're without Christian Wood, and you just know, like the Rockets just know going into this game, it doesn't matter at any point on the court, you're either going to have Nerlens Noel in there or you're going to have Mitchell Robinson. And, for some strange reason, if one of those two players wasn't on the court at any given moment, you still have Julius Randle, you still have Taj Gibson. So the Knicks are physical and they are aggressive, and I want to give a ton of kudos, a ton of props to Daniel Theis tonight. This is why we have him. When Rafael Stone made that signing, this was the envision. Like, this was what you're thinking you're going to get. Now, we've talked about this a lot. If Daniel Theis is your starting center, your team's not good. It's just the reality of things. If he is your starting center, you're just not good. I think what tonight demonstrated is Daniel Theis does have a lot of value, and it just kind of comes down to, first off, he needs to play like this every single night. He was aggressive. He was good on defense. I don't see any reason as to why Daniel Theis can't play like this every single night. You're not going to get the statistical benefit of 22 and 10 all the time, but there's no reason why Theis shouldn't be playing like this every time he steps out onto that court. So outside of Daniel Theis tonight, you had a really good game from Jae'Sean Tate, specifically in the first half. The second half was tough because he did have a good third quarter, but he picked up his 4th foul rather quickly. He picked up his 5th foul rather quickly, got teed up, and the Rockets were just having a bunch of issues with the officiating in general all night tonight. But you can't let your emotions take a hold of you, because a guy like Jae'Sean Tate tonight, and we say all the time, usually when you have the Rockets, by the way, are 1-20 when either Daniel Theis starts or plays 20 minutes. They're 1-20 when one of those two things happen. So keep that in mind. This was probably the first game I've seen all season where Jae'Sean Tate actually played really well with Daniel Theis there in the starting lineup. Usually the issue is you have Christian Wood and Daniel Theis there in the front court, and it leaves Jae'Sean Tate where it's like, what the fuck do I do it now? Like, I don't know what to do now. It's hard to drive. It's hard to shoot. But Jae'Sean Tate tonight, you had to respect the three. He shot 2 of 4 from downtown. He finished with 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. did have 4 turnovers, and like I said, the fouls were a huge issue. Probably a huge, if not the reason we ended up losing this game, because you got to remember, late in the third quarter, first off, late in the second quarter is when the Rockets were down like 17 and they came back. Josh Christopher came into the game, was good defensively, was good offensively. We'll talk about Josh here in just a second, but you have to keep in mind tonight that like Jay Sean had a really solid game and he really helped us come back. And so we're in the third quarter, we're late in the third quarter, and we have a 4-point lead. We were down 17 just a couple of minutes before halftime, and we had a 4-point lead with a couple of minutes left, just like 2 or 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Jay Sean Tate gets into foul trouble, or he was in foul trouble the whole night, but gets teed up and has to get subbed out of the game, doesn't come back in for until like 5 minutes or 6 minutes are left. And it's like, that's not, you can't do that. I mean, it's inexcusable. Any technical foul is usually just inexcusable. And tonight especially, I mean, Jay Sean should know better at this point in his career. I know he's only in his second year, but he's 26, man. He's played overseas. He played 4 years of college. You need to know you can't talk to the freaking ref for 2 minutes after he calls a foul for you. 2 minutes is being dramatic, but you can't sit there and complain the whole time. You're going to get a T. You're going to get a T. It's in the rules. You can't do that. So Jay Sean kind of effed us tonight, but it's all good, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, because they help us with the tank. Losses help the tank. And we saw enough tonight, especially from the younger players, to not be extremely depressed. I mean, we lost by 13. The fourth quarter was disgusting. What was it, 32-21? But I'm not that depressed. I'm slightly depressed. I'm not extremely depressed like I was during that losing streak, that 15-game losing streak. So shout out to both of those two cats, because they gave us 42 combined points. And like I said, I mean, I had my issues with Jay Sean tonight, who got teed up. Daniel Tice was right there next to him, about to get teed up as well. And giving both of those two players credit, they were right. The officiating was pretty ridiculous tonight. But moving on, Armani Brooks, I guess, I think it was an ankle. He tweaked his ankle, didn't play in the second half. I saw just an absurd amount of Steven Silas appreciation on Twitter, where it's shout out Steven Silas for going with Josh Christopher in the second half after the way they closed the first. And it's dude, trust me on this one. If Armani Brooks was not injured, he's starting the second half. It wasn't going to be Josh Christopher. Don't give Silas all the credit there. Armani Brooks is hurt. I'm reading all these tweets on Twitter praising Silas, and I'm like, what? I'm not trying to diss on Silas. I'm just saying he wasn't going to deploy Josh Christopher to start the second half. That's not what was going to happen. He's never done that in his life. He likes to run with these old motherfucking veterans. So anyways, though, Josh Christopher did have a very good game. I think the Kansas City Chiefs just won in overtime, if you guys watched that. It just happened. So Josh Christopher tonight, 5 of 9. 2 of 3 from downtown, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, which is good because last night he was 60% for 14 points. I love what I'm seeing from Josh Christopher, man. It goes. I'm gonna compare him with Eric Gordon here, because Eric Gordon played 30 minutes tonight, 2 of 4, 2 of 8 from the field, 0 of 4 from downtown for an amazing 5 points. Wow, I'm so glad Eric Gordon starts. When Jalen and KPJ come back, they better be starting over Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon has no business starting unless we desperately need him to start, which is what we need him to do right now. So I'm all for, I'm obviously all for trading Eric Gordon and letting Josh Christopher get 30 minutes a night, 25 minutes a night at the very least, once Eric Gordon's traded. So good game from Josh Christopher tonight. You also saw a really good game from KJ. Last 3 or 4 games, he's been putting up pretty much double digits every single night. I think this was either his 3rd or 4th straight game with double digits. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in 29 minutes. And personally, what I really liked about KJ tonight is he had a really nice pump fake and then left-handed dunk. And my biggest flaw with KJ Martin is he has no left hand. I mean, there is literally no left hand on that kid at all. He can't dribble, and he can't use his left hand ever. But tonight, he did. So I like what I'm seeing from KJ, because obviously he's 20 years old, so I'm not trying to rag on him. He's going to be learning. He's going to be improving, but that's something he does need to improve. Alperen Şengün, tonight, horrible night. 0-3 from the field, 0-2 from downtown. He finished with only 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 point, minus 23. Is that the worst on the team? Yep, tied for worst on the team with DJ Augustin. Mitchell Robinson had his way with the entire night. Mitchell Robinson just feasted on Alperen. This is why I'm not ready for him to start. This is why. I get he's a very good basketball player. I understand that. But I don't think we need to just throw him into the starting lineup for the rest of the season because he's had 3 straight good games. Alperen's going to be a really good basketball player, but he's 19, and I just don't see a reason to rush not only his progression and development, but most importantly, injury, by playing him 30 minutes a night in the starting lineup when we're tanking this season anyway. So Şengün's time will come at some point in this season, at the very worst next season. It will come at some point in this season. You've been seeing the minutes increase, only 15 tonight. Don't be fooled by the box score. Alperen played very poorly. You know, he did do a couple of things right. Like he had 2 blocks, but there was just the bad outweighed the good tonight. He had like 4 turnovers as well. He didn't make a field goal. Mitch just really had his way with him tonight, and this is a really, really good learning opportunity for Şengün. That's really about it. I mean, you saw Garrison Matthews play tonight. He's still ice cold from downtown, 2 of 7. I believe both of those were both of those in the fourth quarter or late third, fourth quarter. Garrison, shooters shoot, man. Shooters shoot. Like he needs a guy like Christian Wood there. And a guy like Eric Gordon, you know, ideally Jalen Green and KPJ, but for right now, Eric Gordon and Christian Wood will do just fine. But you can tell, like, this was a much better, he finished with 17 points. This was a much better game than he's had without Eric Gordon and Christian Wood, like, in the last couple of games. And so he's not a first option. If he was a first option, he'd be on a team not named the Houston Rockets with a multi-year contract getting 30 a night. So Garrison Matthews is improving. He's going to continue to improve, and it's just nice that he's still seeing, like tonight, 32 minutes. He's still seeing good minutes. He's still starting, and I hope once the boys come back from the starting lineup, like Jalen, KP, and Christian Wood, I hope he's still starting, and I hope we can find out some way to get a roster spot for him, which I made a video about that a couple of days ago, but I might do one shortly. So that's really it for today, guys. This was a tough loss, but I saw enough to be excited. The announcers kept talking about this 5-game road trip, like it was the end of the world, 2012. But it makes sense, I guess, a little bit because the Rockets have 2 wins on the road. They're like 2-13 on the road, so. Not very good, but there's a ton of COVID stuff going on in the league right now. So if the Rockets can just get back to full strength, if they are somewhat full strength, there's no update on KP, there's no update on Jalen Green. I don't think any of them will be back this week. I doubt Christian Wood comes back this week as well. But hopefully we can get a win against the Detroit Pistons on, I want to say, Saturday, and hopefully for next week we'll be healthy. So that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later.